I'm the tortoise.
And I'm the hare.
And welcome to our book club.
Okay. Hello?
Hello?
I think we did it.
I think we did something.
We're recording at least.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, and worst comes to worst, I could, hopefully, the only thing I'll have to do is shave off, like, the top.
Yeah.
Worst comes to
And we
worst.
usually shave off the top anyway.
That's true.
That's true.
Oh my god.
Am I back on the video?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on the video. And, Shoma's snoring.
Poor Shoma.
The dog is snoring like a truck.
I wish that were me.
You know, honestly,
Samesies.
you know, you're not wrong. I still have to go out in public after this.
Ooh.
I don't want to.
Ew, why?
I forgot to pick up Shoma's dog food.
Ugh. The dog must eat.
Yeah, the dog has to eat.
I mean, he will appreciate it, but that is unfortunate for you.
Yeah, so I have to go to Walmart. It's fine, I guess. Ugh.
I guess. The things we do for the boy.
Very true. What the hell is wrong with my audio? Okay, I'm gonna turn down my recording levels just a tad. Because
Mine's like barely making a little... It's like not even at the 0.5.
We should see like a little like microphone that looks like record meter, and you can adjust the recording level.
Do I want it louder?
Probably.
Okay.
Because you can, I usually keep the recording level around like a 70 to 60%.
Mine was at 60.
Yeah.
I'll try 70.
Yeah, I'm going to leave mine at 70.
I think I have the output down for the microphone on the computer settings anyway, so
that would probably do it.
that could be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, mine looks weird now that I'm looking at this. It's probably because I'm looking at it in mono.
Oh, and we don't usually record in mono.
No, I've been recording in stereo. But
Yeah.
meh. It's fine.
It's all right.
It's the same
We'll
sound.
figure it out eventually.
I mean, hey, this is our
Ow.
test. Oh,
Yeah.
don't hurt yourself, please.
If you saw my little recording setup right now, you would probably laugh yourself silly. So
Hey, I mean, that's fine. We do what we gotta do. As long as my little thing is still recording. Yes, it is. Cool. I went ahead and just full screened you back so that I can ignore the audio and pretend like we're just having a conversation instead of recording a podcast.
Yeah. It's just a conversation.
And us
Two gals talking about books.
and other shit, I guess.
And I have my book. I have the book
You brought the book.
in front of me currently.
Got one of the books.
brought it.
You brought one of
One
the
of them.
books.
Yes, this is true.
Because
There's multiples.
there are multiples. I guess this is the part where we actually say what we're going to talk about today.
Haha.
Because there is no time to waste on how long it will take for us to discuss this hot mess of an author and series.
Hot mess.
So many
Who
hot
is
messes.
Mormon. So
Yeah.
live react. We'll give you 3 hints as to who we're going to be talking about.
Send us a message. See if you know we're talking about a Mormon whose 10th anniversary of one of the most popular book series in the frickin' world, I guess, just passed.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least in the U.S. I would say it's probably one up there.
Probably in the U.S., yeah.
What's a good third hint?
She's blonde.
That could be 2. I literally just thought of 2 different authors.
Well, your hint kind of gave it away, so
That's
I had
true.
to go
Mine
back
is
to like
generic. That's true, because
I
the
had
other
to
one
go
hasn't
back
had
to-
yeah.
vague.
That's true, because the person I'm thinking of the other person I was thinking of hasn't had a 10th anniversary, so that's fair.
Who are you thinking of?
Well,
It's not.
it's not Rebecca Yarros, because she's also Mormon.
Is she really?
She's also Mormon. She's also blonde. Also has one of the most popular book series at this point.
I mean, watch out for the Mormons. They are taking over, I'm pretty sure.
They are.
Because it's also not Brandon Sanderson, who is also Mormon.
And he's not blonde.
Yeah.
He has brown hair, last I checked.
Okay.
I thought so.
He gives blonde. I love Brandon Sanderson. That's not an insult.
It's not, but that's hilarious. He does give blonde, though, doesn't he?
Watch the Mormons is all I'm saying. And so, a drum roll, please. Who is it?
We are talking about Sarah J. Maas.
Sarah J. Maas.
We are talking about Sarah J. Maas and the Maas verse.
The Maas. Is it Maas verse?
It is the Maas verse.
Huh.
At this point, yeah.
I don't like it. Sorry.
I mean, we've already determined that I only like one of the 3 series.
Yeah.
At this point. So, I mean...
I think I like one of them as well, and that's on the fence.
Let's see. Let's go ahead and open, since we're going to be talking essentially about all 3 series in some way, shape, or form. Let's go ahead and rank the 3 series for us. We've all read, we've both read at least bits and we've both completed ACOTAR.
Yes.
I have completed Throne of Glass. You've completed Crescent City minus the last one?
Yeah, I got like halfway through the audiobook because they only had the first bit released of the 3rd book. The 3rd book. So I still have the last half of it to listen to.
Okay. So we've both basically read ACOTAR, and then we've both read at least one of the other series enough to know what's going on in that other series.
To build an opinion.
We've read enough of each series to have an opinion.
Yes. This is coming from experience and fact. And, well, maybe not fact, but at least a basis of exposure.
Yes, like we actually have read these books. We have actual opinions based on reading the books, not based off of things we've read.
Not on the internet. They're from my own brain. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
To rank, I think we are in agreement with 3rd place, aka dead last.
Oh, are we though?
We might not be, actually.
We might not be. I think ours is going to look very different.
My opinion on my 3rd place is so strong. I just assume everybody else agrees.
Okay, how about, since you have such a strong opinion, what is your 3rd place?
Obviously, the Court of Thorns and Roses.
Oof.
That series. ACOTAR.
Mine is biased out of the fact that this is one of the first book series I've ever DNF'd.
Ooh.
I've almost never...
Womp womp.
I've never... Like, I've been trying to think. I think I've DNF'd one other series.
Yeah. Vampire Academy. No, Zodiac Academy. That one.
I never even... I guess 3 then, because I've DNF'd Zodiac Academy after 3 chapters. And I DNF'd...
Keeping her honest.
Listen, thank you. I DNF'd The Cruel Prince after halfway through the book.
So you did make it halfway through.
I tried. I made it more than 3 chapters. And then, of course, in 3rd place for me is Crescent City, because I DNF'd Crescent City.
Aww. Although you did say, I have it on record in writing. I'm sure I could pull a receipt somewhere if I needed to.
Yeah.
You did say that Hunt was one of your favorite male leads.
Okay, so we should rank the male leads of the 3 books after we rank all 3 books.
Okay.
Let's hold on. Ours are just gonna differ a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? That's the whole point of this podcast, is to talk about our feelings on books.
Because we have strong feelings.
We do.
Have opinions.
Oh boy, do we. Oh boy,
do we opine.
Opine. Oh no. So for you, 3 is ACOTAR. For me, 3 is Crescent City. Mostly just because I'm probably not going to finish it. Who knows? Maybe I'll get the motivation to finish it later in life. But for now, it has to be 3 because I DNF'd it.
Later in life when she runs out of other books to read.
Yeah. Listen, I'm about to have to drop my Kindle Unlimited plan and just do hardback books, so I'm about to be very sad. Which is fine. I like reading physical books.
Frowny face.
Sad. I'm like, sad.
No more trash monster reads.
Come on. Me and Ruby Dixon. I was going to go back and read some of her trashy romance monster novels, but now I can't because I'm just broke and I'm going to pay for grad school. So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Everybody give her a round of applause. A round of claws.
Round of claws.
A round of... Speaking of monster fuckers.
But yeah, grad school's gonna kick my absolute ass. So I have to try and save as much money as I can, which means most of my subscriptions, except for the ones that keep me sane, are going away.
Yes. Which means you might actually make it through your TBR.
Yes, because I'll have no choice.
Yes.
Well, back to our rankings. So,
yes.
Number 2. What's number 2 for you?
Throne of Glass. Just because I haven't finished the whole series. I probably would have a different opinion if I got all the way through it.
Yeah.
But the attention span is not attention span.
Listen, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna find the audiobooks for you.
Okay.
That way you can actually make it through, because reading the physical books is not your friend. And the audio...
I can't sit still long enough.
That's fair. I'll find the audiobooks, that way you can just re-listen to the series. That'll be easier. So you can get an actual opinion, because I do think you'll like it.
I do think so, too. I love me a Merc, so...
But what was I thinking?
Your second place.
Second place. Oh yeah, my second place is Akatar.
Yeah.
I actually finished it.
Not because it's good, but because she didn't finish Crescent City.
Yeah. Though, if I go based off of what I've read in Crescent City... Nah, I take it back. I was going to say it's interesting, but my brain is also like, but it's very predictable. It felt very predictable to me. That's the other reason why I have to put in third.
Is Akatar not?
It wasn't when I read it.
Okay.
Because remember, Akatar was one of those books when I first was getting into romantasy. Now, if I went back and reread it, I'd be like, oh, I could see that from a mile away.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
it holds a special place because it is the gateway drug, I would say.
Yeah. So I put
the
in
modern
second.
gateway drug.
It's almost like when it's like that same discussion of what was your gateway anime?
Soul Eater.
Yeah.
I am a ride or die for Soul.
I now have the deep need to make you watch Fire Force, but that's for another discussion.
I think I read it, so
maybe we'll find out. That's another day.
But a tangent. We still haven't even gotten to first place.
We digress. So number 1.
For me, for SJM, Crescent City, just because I do love a mystery crime book. And I feel like in this book, it's one of her better developed lady friendships. And it also involves crime and a mystery.
And of course, Rune Danon, Crown
Prince. Yes, him. I do love Rune Danon, Crown Prince of the Valbar and Fey. That's the music in the background.
I know, right? I'm just like, I just hear the club, the stereotypical club music in the background.
Yeah.
And number 1 for me, of course, is Throne of Glass. I have the deep need to do a reread on Throne of Glass.
And now that you don't have Kindle Unlimited, you can.
That's true. Well, I need to frickin' finish... what the hell? Jennifer Armentrout's Blood and Ash and Fire and Flesh series, because we have an official release date of the final book. Ooh. Or, well, not really final book, but one of the last books because she just announced too that holy shit, there's gonna be. She was like, oh, this was supposed to be the last book with Poppy and Castile, but actually she was like, I can't. She in an announcement was like, I can't. It doesn't feel right for this to be the last book. She said so. There's gonna be another book with Poppy and Castile.
Oh, okay.
Because she wanted to do like the ending justice. It sounded like so.
Okay.
Which is good. Like we love it when an author realizes we need another book. Like we can't fit. We're not going to try and fit everything in one freaking book.
And just make it twice as long as every other book.
I know, that's so annoying.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, ACOTAR.
Not my favorite. Cough, cough. Or maybe, hopefully she's not falling into the trap of never letting the book series die. Yeah. Also, cough, cough, ACOTAR.
Listen, actually, let's go ahead. Since ACOTAR 10th anniversary just happened, let's talk about...
Congratulations.
I know, congratulations. Now let's trash talk ACOTAR. Like...
All right.
Yay, 10 years.
Start us off. Yay. This is why it sucks.
Let's talk about why it's both good and bad, and like in the sense of like when I say it's bad, I want to say it's sadly bad.
What do you mean?
It means that it had such a great potential, and then it drowned.
Yes.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Like, it could have been so much more. The premise was cool, but it just fell flat.
Yes, it definitely fell flat for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
the one good thing it has for it that I will say is that it is easy reading. And so I think that's what a lot of people get into it with, is that it's like a fun little silly book. Just like a little beach read. And then you get hooked into it because you're like, the last 100 pages of every SJM book is the best of the entire series, like of the entire book. And it's like, could we have just kept this level for the entire book? But no. So you're left with that 100-page cliffhanger that makes you want more, even though the rest of it was really not that great.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it. Because there are certain things that she writes really, really well. Like, I think she's not a bad writer. Let's put it that way. I don't think so. She's a bad writer. I think she's not a very good plotter.
Okay.
When it comes to ACOTAR, at least. I don't think she's very, like, there's, like, we talked about how, like, ACOTAR is like a story of trauma and like exploring trauma and dealing with that. Like, we talked about that before, but and I think she does develop, because I have this weird relationship with the characters in ACOTAR, because they're both good and very bad. Not bad, very bad. Like like there's some aspects of them that are very, very good. Like, I do think the way that I think the interactions are fun. And the way that characters...
Like the dialogue?
Yeah, the dialogue is fun. The, even just, like, when characters get together, it's just, like, an interesting time. You know? Just to read about them interacting with each other.
Okay.
But that's if you suspend your disbelief.
Okay. Because
some stuff in ACOTAR just doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah. In the sense of, like, the characters' actions based on their supposed history.
Yes. And the lack of background, like, my biggest frustration, I will always say this, and I think I've said it 1,000 times. I've probably even said it in a previous podcast. One of my biggest issues is the lack of character background on the three sisters. There is a distinct lack of world building just for them, because the world building as a whole is not too bad. Like, we have Prithian, we have a general understanding of the workings and stuff like that between like the courts and the human realms. We have a general idea. Like it's not like Throne of Glass level world building, but it's good enough for the book series that's not focused on world building, right?
Yeah.
But like I feel like I know everything and nothing about the three sisters. Like who they are.
They were not very well developed, yes.
Like I feel like I know next to nothing about why they are the people that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like at all.
And do you think that has to do with the unreliableness? I'm sure that's not a word.
It's a word.
Bear with me. The unreliability, I guess, of Feyre as our narrator, and then the very limited viewpoint that we have of them.
I think it's just poor writing.
Okay.
Because like you can have a limited narrator and still know a lot more than we do.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the only thing we know, because like if I was going to talk about my siblings, right? Because we've talked about this. I don't have a great relationship with my older siblings, especially like my eldest sister. So I relate to Feyre in that way, but like I can tell you why I don't like my older sister. I can give you receipts as to why I don't like her going back.
Right.
Not just like, oh, here's this one interaction that we kind of hear about where she wanted, instead of to spend money on food, she wanted to buy new shoes. Like, it's surface level issues rather than talking about, like in my case, oh, my sister still has my dead father's ashes and won't give them to me.
Which is like really fucked up.
Yeah. And like there's something like that, there's an emotional connection to that stuff where like, I get it, you're starving, you're poor, you're hungry, so talking about like buying shoes instead of food is important to like bring up at some point, but I want more. I wanted to hear about, like, if you're gonna really paint, and this is something that if it's even with an unreliable narrator, you could put this out in the world, and then in Nesta's book you can sort of flip it, which would be good writing. But like Feyre saying, oh, not only did I hunt and get food and stuff like that, like I cleaned around the house, like talking about more of what was going on at home to make her feel like she was carrying everything.
Yeah.
Unless that was never the point, then why would you mention that she's the one out hunting and say that the sisters are lazy? Like, you have to pick a side.
Right. And to explain why, because even in Nesta's book, I know you didn't read that book, but even in Nesta's book,
sorry.
They never really, it's okay. They never explained why she would refuse to do anything to support her family. Like they had said things about the way her mom, quote unquote, trained her or treated her or told her that she would be a queen or whatever the exact wording is. I don't remember at this point. But that was never, to my recollection, expounded upon and connected to her actions after their fall from wealth.
So that's what I mean by poor writing.
Yeah, they're not developed. I feel like these characters are very surface level.
Yes, I agree. Like that's where I think like the very bad part comes in of like the surface level is very interesting, but this could have been such a great book of character character driven books if we would have gotten.
I love a character. I love a character driven book. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. But like, it would have been so nice to be able to be like, oh, this is how it works. This is how this family operates. And why, because would have been really fun, and I think this is what Sarah J. Maas wanted to avoid, perhaps, is that if we showed, or if she had shown, like, all this more detailed stuff, maybe we would have actually believed Feyre wanted to leave with Tamlin the first time around. Instead of,
but weren't we supposed to?
No, like, I think the intention, and this is my view on it at least, the intention was to show that she was sacrificing herself for her family to, like, save them from Tamlin when he first, like, broke down.
You mean the very first scene, not once she's already living with him?
No.
Okay.
Like, I think if we had learned and taken those first couple chapters to see that, like, oh, like, this family treats Feyre like crap. Or, wow, this is weird that Feyre's not talking about, like, it's so, like, me. Because neither is true. Like, we don't get to see, oh, this family is crap, or Feyre being very me. Like, I don't think so. At least not in my recollection of it.
My recollection doesn't either, but I don't know that I agree with the fact that we would have felt she wanted to leave. I think it would have made more sense as to why she felt like she had to sacrifice herself.
Yeah. What I mean, keep going.
No, I'm sorry. Just, like, if we understood more of the psychology of it all, of why she felt like she had to provide for her family, why she felt the way she did about them, and the motivations each one had to acting the way they did, or more history between her and her sisters, I think it would have been more believable about why she was the sacrificial lamb or something along those lines, as to why she felt responsible for them.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me.
We might have been rooting for her to leave her family.
Yes, that's what I meant.
For her to not go back to them.
Mm-hmm. Or we could have been like, oh, or if we even went the, like, unreliable narrator, oh, this is weird, she's only talking about herself sort of route, which is also a very interesting route to go. Then maybe we might have been like, instead of, like, being like, go, like, get the hell out of there, girl. We could have been like, wow, she really is just, like, an attention-seeking bitch. Like, wow, the lengths that, almost like an, imagine, Feyre, a narcissist.
That would have been cool.
That would have been so cool. I'm sorry. That would have been so freaking cool.
Yeah, another layer to it. Or to explain why Nestor refused to do anything. Yeah. Like, to have Feyre be this paragon of familial support and familial sacrifice and, what's the word that I'm looking for? The love that you don't have to do anything for. Yeah. Unconditional love.
There we go.
Like, this... this paragon, this example of it, which is kind of how it reads at the start, is she's sacrificing herself for her family, and she does this all out of unconditional love for them. We could have understood some of Nesta's reluctance to do anything if Feyre had been presented in more of a narcissistic light. And reading her as a narcissist would be a really cool reread of, like, Feyre with her limited narrator. To have that perspective going back through and rereading to see if she does check any of those narcissistic tendencies off on her limited narrator view.
That would be a fun reread.
Yeah. Like, if we reread it through the viewpoint of Feyre thinks she's the best thing that's ever happened to the world.
That's more Rhys. That sounds like Rhysand.
Yes. No, he is his own brand of trouble.
Well, so since we talked a little bit about Feyre, let's go ahead and talk about the three female leads. And kind of, like, not necessarily compare them, because I don't really want to do that, but low-key compare them, like, in the sense of their role as main character.
Okay.
Like, I think Feyre is not a super compelling main character. Like, I think there's something to, like, the poverty and stuff like that. But beyond that, I'm like, Like, when it comes to her.
Yeah, there's nothing that makes me want to love her.
Exactly. So I think, like, if I was ranking the 3 female characters about, like, compellingness, I guess, I put her probably at the bottom. Just because she's just not interesting.
She's not. She's very flat. I feel like she's a one-level character. Like, she's on a piece of paper.
Yes.
She is a paper.
Yeah. While my favorite I wrote in my fan fiction was very cool. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Yes, and you should read it, folks.
Listen, Witches in Prythian, I really got to go back and just finish at least book 1 for that.
You do.
Because it was so good. We literally left off on her chopping off her hair and fucking up her face.
A little Mulan action.
But yeah, Feyre in the books is very flat and not very interesting. And I think
yes.
There's she's just not very compelling to me.
There could have been so much more done there.
Yeah. You pick.
And I have a feeling we will disagree with, like, the top one. So I'm guessing you're going to put Aelin.
Probably, but that's because I know her better than I know Bryce.
Yeah.
And it's not that as I'm, like, processing what I just said about Feyre, it's not that I don't think Bryce is compelling.
Yeah.
Because I think there is an aspect to her that is very interesting. Especially, there's... What's a good way? You talk about her first, and I put my thoughts together.
Okay. So I... Partially because I don't know the characters in Throne of Glass very well. Yeah. Either. So I have that limited perspective of the main lead. Yeah. Which is why I suggested, like, we probably would have different leads on it. But I love the aspect, and what I think is missing in a lot of the Sarah J. Maas books that I've read besides Crescent City is the focus on friendship. And it's always like the stereotype of fantasy books is like, friendship is power. Through friendship we can do all. Yeah. But I do love seeing these powerful female friendships and the ones that transcend any kind of male connection, because she has 3 powerful female friendships that don't have anything at all to do with men. Yeah. Which is very nice to see. Yeah. And kind of a refreshing change in romantasy books.
Yeah. I will say, Throne of Glass does have that. Oh, you've already read one. Okay. You've read one.
The one that I know about, she got betrayed by.
Not really. It gets complicated.
Okay.
Because you're talking about...
So I haven't gone to where... I'm talking about the girl she meets in the desert.
Yeah, not her.
Okay.
You don't remember? You in Throne of Glass book 1, Nehemia, the princess.
But she's dead.
Yeah, she gets murdered, but they were friends.
Yes, that's true.
Like, they were good friends through all of book 1. And it really had nothing to do with any men. Like, they were just like Aelin's like, I'm getting the fuck out of that freaking out of Endeavor, and getting the heck out of being a slave and those mines. And like, I'm here to fight for my life, but this princess, she is awesome, and we're gonna be friends. So there is that.
She was awesome. I did really like her.
Yeah.
But then didn't she, like, betray her?
That's where I said it's complicated.
Yeah.
Like, you could make the argument of yes, she did. And you can also make the argument that there's other characters that suck that cause that to happen.
That's fair.
But that's, like, later on. And then she also makes another friend, or she has another powerful female friend that is alive and stays alive. I think in book... Oh, God, because you have book 3. Or, like, technically book 3, because there's the prequel in the first 2 books, so you're in book 3. Is it Queen of Shadows, I think? So the next book, I think it's book 4.
Okay.
That is when, like, that female friendship comes back in. Yeah. Is it fully reliant on a man? No. I had to think about that. I was like, No, like they know each other through a guy, but like they know each other, not friends because of the guy.
Okay, I got you.
It's complicated.
It sounds complicated.
It is, but that's because there's a lot of bullshit that happens in Throne of Glass. But that's what makes it fun.
But that's the political intrigue of it all.
That is the political intrigue and assassinations and, you know, meh. But yeah, no, the female friendship thing is really nice to see in, like,
the one thing
fantasy books.
That I find, as far as Crescent City goes and Bryce Quinlan, there are a couple things that I find very frustrating about her.
Okay.
Which I don't know if that makes a good character, where you don't like everything about them. And I feel like we understand why, though. So there are things that she does that we don't like, or that are annoying, but we understand why she does them.
Okay.
But, like, for example, the reliance on drugs and alcohol. I know that was one of the things that you really didn't like about the book, was all the partying and abuse of substances.
Triggers!
That was very forefront. Yeah. So there's that, which it does kind of go away.
Okay.
But it's an interesting analysis on bad coping mechanisms with trauma in modern times.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what a lot of people use them for.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's what I saw it as, too. Like, I skipped through it because, like, I personally can't do it.
Yeah.
But I do understand it. And, like, I was laughing that she was trying to go to a better coping mechanism by using aromatherapy, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, good for you. Like, good on you for trying to, you know, cope better. But aromatherapy, really? Like, that's hilarious.
That is funny. I mean, I didn't really pick up on that as much, but looking back on it, lavender and mint, that's gonna fix everything.
Lavender and mint fix
Essential
everything.
oils.
Listen, I just bought a mint plant to grow inside because I was trying to grow it outside, but I realized if I leave it outside, I'm never gonna do it. So we're gonna grow the mint inside.
Yes. Also, unrelated, mint becomes a crazy weed that you can never get rid of.
That's kind of the point. That's why it's gonna be a little pot.
Yeah.
And I can use mint for a lot of non-cooking, burning reasons.
And they're tasty to chew. Anyway, so I think Bryce is an interesting character.
Yes.
From that standpoint. But I do get annoyed with I'm an all-powerful, but not really powerful, star princess.
Yeah.
And woe is me.
Yeah. That's kind of why I had to stop reading it, because I just hit the point where I was like, oh, so she has a super secret power, and she's going to suddenly be all-powerful, but she's too afraid of that power because of XYZ reason that I don't really care about, because this is every female trope ever.
And she doesn't become actually powerful through her magic.
Okay.
It's very confusing.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
She, like, has a lot of magic, but not actual usable power. Mm-hmm. She just gets very shiny.
Good for her. Become a shiny Pokemon.
We love a sparkly bitch, but tell me why you like Aelin.
Oh god, this is gonna be hard. I think, well, she also has that aspect of, like, dealing with her trauma in bad ways.
Yes.
Because, did you start Heir of Fire?
I have, yeah.
So, if you remember, at the beginning of Heir of Fire, she's just drunk on a rooftop.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, like, she coped with the trauma of being herself by not becoming herself. And yes. I thought that was so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And now, in the start of book 3 that you're at, she is now having to... Excuse you, sir. She is now having to decide if she wants to go through with the things she wants to go through with. Like, if she wants to be as powerful as she believes she needs to be and will eventually need to be just to, live. She has to accept the fact that she is Aelin, that she isn't Selena, that she is a princess, that she is Fae, that she does control, like, she has to accept all the things that she spent, 4 books, essentially, because she doesn't really accept herself until the end of book 3, of technically 4 if we count the prequel. She doesn't accept herself until we'll call it book 4, because we'll count the prequel. She doesn't accept that she's all the things she is until the end of book 4.
Right, and I don't even think she's very comfortable with it at that point.
No, I think she kind of is. Like, she gets there, mainly because this is one of the reasons why I really like Aelin and Rowan's, like, love story, is because he is, first of all, a complete jackass to her, but once he realizes, like, oh, she's, like, hurting and she acts the way she does because she was a fucking child when her family was murdered. And he starts to realize, like, oh, maybe I'm the asshole here. Like, maybe she's still an asshole. Like, she is still an asshole. But maybe I am too. And he's very, very much like, not like, oh, embrace your power because you don't have a choice. He's very much like, you're gonna kill yourself if you don't do this. Like, come on. We gotta do this for your own health and safety. It's like, it's the better intervention that should have happened probably to Nesta.
Poor Nesta, but not poor Nesta.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about her. That'll be a conversation for another day. Or later on, who knows. But, like, I like Aelin just because she spends 4 books trying to learn to be herself again. And then spends the remaining... I have to, like, count. There we go. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I think it's... Oh, not the Empire Storms. 1, 2, 3. And then spends another 4 books, like, dealing with what the consequences of being herself means. So, I find that very interesting, and I think that there's some stuff, like, that's frustrating, especially towards the end, that made me kind of mad. Like, but it's also just, like, you could see it as a character side, and I personally see where it comes from. Doesn't mean I like it.
Right.
But...
And the best characters, you're not going to like everything about them, because you're not going to like everything about people.
Yeah. Because, like, she's very powerful. She is very smart.
Okay.
She's also very vain.
Yes. She does love a fancy dress.
And that actually comes up, like, her vanity plays a really important part later on. In a weird, twisted way. It's really sad. But she's vain. She doesn't communicate well. And that's actually, like, a point of contention towards the end. Okay. And I really wish, and this is something I wish from, like, Sarah J. Maas's side of things, like, from a writing perspective. Oh, hi, show. From a writing perspective, I wish, and this is something about, like, this is a good transition to talking about the male leads, too. I wish Rowan didn't let her get away with being non-communicative in certain aspects. I might need a reread, though, because it has been a while since I've read the books. So maybe he did get on her a little bit, but from my recollection, he didn't.
Not enough to be, obviously, any kind of impactful amount.
Yeah. So I think... Hi, show. That is something that frustrated me, that she's non-communicative and she almost is rewarded for it, and I didn't like that.
No. We should be better than that.
We should be better than that. Hi. Sorry, he's like...
And even if people aren't better at it, at least books should model it for those who read.
Yes, correct. So, speaking of, let's talk about those main males, huh?
Oh, main males.
Let's talk about the main males that have essentially warped... Not warped, but shaped. That's the right word. Shaped.
Yes.
Almost all modern romantasy main males. Let's be real.
Which is unfortunate, because none of them are good. Yeah.
So, who... Okay. I don't feel bad in saying this is how I want to rank them.
Okay.
But low-key, I want to rank them in likability. AKA,
as
would you actually go on a date with him?
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Let's rank them in a, how likely are you to go on a date with this person?
Mm-hmm.
And let's be fair, in the realm that they exist in, not in the modern world.
Okay. Noted.
In their world, because I think the answer is if any of them showed up in real life, except for maybe Hunt, he might, from what I know of him so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all automatically give me the ick because they're like Fae and they're all like all aggressively territorial.
Which ick
is only good in fantasy novels.
Yes. If some, the overly possessive to the point of controlling and limiting is not sexy.
Not at all.
To any young listeners we have.
Which, if you're under the age of 18, get out.
Well, yes. But even 18-year-olds can be susceptible to it.
Under 18, you should not be listening to this podcast.
Yes, under 18, go goodbye. But if you are early in a relationship, if the person is very interested in where you go and who you talk to and what you do with your time, and having any opinions about it, as long as you are not hurting yourself and or others, run.
Just the casual run was great.
Because it may be sexy to have dark, scary, morally gray man in a romantasy book. But oftentimes in real life, those are sociopathic tendencies and or narcissistic tendencies, and that you run.
Yeah, run. Get far away from them, girly.
Yes. So.
But agreed. So that's why, to be fair to them,
with that public service announcement aside, in Realm.
In Realm, let's talk about it. How would you rank these men?
So I have not met Rowan yet.
Okay.
So I cannot include him in it. So all I have are Kael and what's his name?
Dorian.
The prince. Yes.
Okay, that's
Dorian.
fine. We can count them.
See, it's very hard to rank them in Realm because all of the male, like, so you've got Prince Dorian and you've got Rhys, and these are two extremely powerful leaders. And having a romantic and or political marriage connection to said leaders of these different groups would be extremely appealing for those who have any kind of interest in not dying.
Yeah.
Because these are feudalistic systems.
Yes. Wow, you're like game planning this. I love that you're like game planning who you would date.
And then Hunt is very nice. However, he is also a, what's the word? I want to say tatted rebel, but like tatted would be appealing for some people, but it's tatted in a bad way.
Oh, you mean the
like
the thing?
Yeah. The political prisoner slave tattoo.
Yeah.
And the political and / social pariah of it all would make him not a very appealing partner. Considering he is the government's kill guy.
Yeah.
The government's Iceman, we can say.
Yeah, he's the government Iceman, that's true.
Yeah. So I feel like of the three in Realm politically aligned, Rhys would be the best option. Not because I like him, but because there would be the most advantage.
God, this is one of the few times I wish that we were on camera.
Your face is just like horrified. The woman was too stunned to speak.
I'm clipping this. This is going somewhere on the internet that you said you would date Rhys. It's going on the internet forever. I'm sorry.
Like I said, not because I like him, but because he would be the most politically advantageous partner of the three.
I'm going to clip this to take it out of context.
That's okay.
We're doing it.
That's all right. Because I personally would not choose any of them. I'm a hard no on all of them.
Okay. Now I feel like we have to do this. This is not fully on topic, but I do have a question now. And then I'll go, and you can ask me the same question in return if you'd like, or ask a different one, whatever. But I think if you were... It's kind of fun to talk about this, especially with, like, the Sarah J. Maas verses.
Yes.
If you were in a fantasy novel, and we could say if you were in one of the Sarah J. Maas books,
okay,
what do you feel like your role would be? Like, not necessarily character role, but, like, what do you imagine, what society do you feel like you'd best fit in? Or do you think you have the most fun in, even? Not even fit in, just, like, have the most fun in? That you could, like, throw a character in that's basically you.
As far as, like, Crescent City, Throne of Glass, or Akatar?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I think probably Crescent City, because it's more modern.
Okay.
So, as much fun as feudalistic societies and medieval societies and high fantasies would be, I also really like modern plumbing.
Yeah.
And, you know, rights for women.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. We like rights for women.
So.
Okay. What do you think you would do then? What would be your job?
I just lost you. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, you're back.
Hi.
JK. Hello. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said, what would be your job?
Is there the option to not have a job and, like,
no.
not be... Damn. Because I am not meant to work.
Listen, mood.
I would, I think it would be very interesting to be an archivist or something along those lines. Not exactly what Bryce does, where she works for, you know, the illegal art sales of it all, but somebody that works with books and or archival things. Or I would just be my current job, but in
fantasy.
Fantasy. And I saw somebody on the internet relate the Crescent City books to this, and I hate it. But basically, this is Furrytopia. So...
Like Zootopia?
Is what Crescent City... Yes. Because Crescent City has all of the shifters, and they are... And you also have... the half-animal people.
Yep.
That walk around.
It's Zootopia.
It's Zootopia.
It's Zootopia.
So, Crescent City is the furryverse, apparently.
I hate that.
Which I hate. Thank you.
Nope. Hate that.
So.
Okay, fine.
I would like to be clear that I did not choose Crescent City because I am a furry. Because I am not a furry.
You're a furry.
Says the one who read the monster fucker books.
I'm not denying that I'm a monster fucker. I never said that.
Just that she's not a furry.
I'm not a fucking furry.
Same.
But I'd fuck a dragon.
That's hilarious. Not a furry, but a scaly.
Scaly, oh no! Okay. Let's see. Okay. who would I date out of the books?
Yes. What is your ranking? Because mine was, if I had to, and I had to live in these verses, I would choose the most powerful person, who was Rhys.
You wouldn't pick Rune?
He's not a lead, though.
I would let you count.
Lead.
I'd let you count, though.
Okay.
You can count
him.
Then
yes, Rhysand, Prince of the Valbar and Fey.
Because I almost meant to... I should have corrected myself, because technically Kaol and Dorian aren't male leads either. Like, they start off as that, but then they shove out.
Yeah.
They shove off. Yeah. But... yeah, we'll say any male character in any of the universes that we meet and talk to and have a name and personality.
Okay. Then Rhysand, Crown Prince of the Valbar and Fey. So that would be my preferred choice, not just because of political allegiances.
There we go.
Mostly because he gets high and drunk and then decides the best use of his time is to go down on a woman.
Good for him. Honestly, good for him and good for whoever she is.
Yes.
Okay. I just remembered something. Okay, don't let me forget. I'm going to say this. I want to talk about a possible ACOTAR and CC connection.
Okay,
Crescent City connection.
So we can get to that, but you have to expose your preferences.
Okay, I wanted to say it, though, because I don't want to forget.
Yes.
Okay, my preferences for the men in the books.
In the Maas verse.
In the Maas verse, okay. I'm thinking of my type. Which, or, correction, if we're thinking, like, date with the intention of marriage, right? Because that's the only reason I'm gonna date at this point in my life.
That's fair.
I'm not dating to get laid. I'm dating because I need security.
Mood.
So, first off,
okay,
not an asshole.
Not an asshole. First criteria, not an asshole. Low.
The bar is on the ground.
The bar is on the ground, but also very hard for Maasverse male characters to meet. So that gets rid of about 80% of them.
Yes. So, and I agree with you that Hunt has to go just because, like, I don't want to deal with that baggage. That baggage is not something I think I have the mentality to deal with.
I don't want to hear about your dead former love.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I do, like, if we were in a relationship, I'd listen to you, be a shoulder cry, and, you know, like, be a good partner.
I wouldn't like it, though.
Yeah. I'd be sad. I'd be really sad. I don't think I have the mental fortitude to be, like, I could be your friend. Like, I have the mental fortitude as a friend. I think Hunt would be a fun person just to hang out with.
Yes, I do too.
Same with Rhysand. He's going to go off the list because I can't do the drugs. I can't do the drugs and alcohol. I cannot do it.
That's fair. It's a lot.
If we go based off of I'm trying to think any other male characters in Crescent City.
Connor.
No. He's dead. He's dead. No.
I'm sorry. It's the no. He's dead.
So no. Death automatically takes you off the list. Like, sorry, you don't count no more. Like, if someone asked me who my favorite fourth wing character was, I can't say Liam anymore because he's dead.
Oh, Liam.
But no. So I think the only other male character I can think of is, like, Hunt's partner / warden, essentially.
Isaac.
Yeah, that guy.
Isaiah.
That guy.
One of those two.
Something like that.
But he's wildly gay.
I figured. That's what I remembered. I was like the only other guy.
Yeah.
Good for him, though. If I want to be problematic, Because Lord
we do love problematic here.
Listen, my friend makes fun of me because I am just wildly problematic when it comes to men I would date in book series.
Cough, cough, Jack Barlow, cough, cough.
Yeah.
You're never living that one down.
No, never, and I'm okay with that.
I have to go on record as saying that I will be with Rhys. You have to go on record forever as a Jack Barlow.
Hey, guess what, guys? I would fuck and date Jack Barlow. Peace. On record. Don't care. No shame.
On record. There we go.
Who is it? Micah, I think is his name.
Oh.
The guy who practically owns Hunt?
Yes. The scum of the earth.
Yeah. Because I only got part of the way through the first book, so I don't know how scummy he really gets.
Really scummy.
I figured. But he's voiced by my favorite voice actor in the entire world, and therefore I would die for him.
He's also apparently really hot and good in bed. So.
I know!
Reportedly.
I heard that too.
But he's also dead. Spoilers.
Fuck.
Yeah. Off the table.
Damn, so I can't be scummy. That's fine. Yeah, so that means Crescent City's out. Okay.
Crescent City is out.
Sad. Because I'd love to be in the modern world.
Right?
Okay, Crescent City's out. Let's see. Everyone in Throne of Glass is taken in a way that I'm happy with. So
Boo.
I have to ditch Throne of Glass just on principle.
Even Kael and Dorian?
They both end up with awesome people.
Oh.
Kael gets a wife.
Good for him.
He gets married and has a kid.
I only know him as problematic, so.
He gets married and has a kid.
Is that his redemption arc?
Yeah, his redemption. He has a book of redemption arc.
Okay.
So they're all out. Dorian gets with somebody who frightens me to my core, so I have to not just back off that one.
You can't push her to the side.
Nah. Rowan's with Aelin, and I would die for them to be together, so that's fine.
Aww.
Aedion is awesome, but also him and his girl are awesome together.
Mm-hmm. That is rough.
Fenris is an option. I don't think he ends up with anyone.
Okay.
He's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like he's low-key.
Assuming that their partners were not there. We are suspending partners.
Are we suspending partners?
Suspending partners.
Are we suspending the plot? That's very important. Are we suspending the plot?
If that plot relies upon the romance of the partner, then yes.
But the non-romance plot is still going to occur.
Yes.
Then Dorian's out the fucking door. Because I was gonna say Dorian, but if we're not suspending plot, hell no.
Hell no. Okay.
I ain't dealing with that shit.
Mm-mm.
Ooh, Rowan. No, because that baggage is there too.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Okay. Yep. No throwing glasses out the window. Why do all these men have so much baggage?
Because they live in the end of times.
That is true. Okay, that means we're in Akatar. Okay.
Yep. You got Lucian.
Lucian is low-key baby girl, though. Let's be real.
Lucian's a girl's girl, so is he even an option?
He is an option. He has to be. He's an option. You know who I automatically thought of, though, for Avatar? Tarquin. That's Rhys, but better. Because he's nicer.
Yes. He's the white angel, right?
Oh, Tarquin.
The water guy.
He's the water guy. He's the High Lord of the Summer Court.
Okay.
Summer Court sounds pretty chill.
Yes. I'm sorry, I was trying to Google really fast about Tarquin. And
he's hot.
What popped up was Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, who is a king of Rome.
Hey, it's meant to be.
It's meant to be.
Because, like, Tarquin seems like, one, he's not a ladies' man like Helios.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a dick like Rhys.
No.
He doesn't quite have any of the baggage.
He doesn't. And he's got white hair.
And he's got white hair. So he's hot, automatically.
Automatically hot.
Automatically hot. Has that bag. He's a High Lord, he got that bag.
He rich.
He rich.
He rich. He's Richie McRicher rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just based on that interaction with Feyre, he seems like he'd just be a good guy to be with.
He is. He feels like a non-problematic girl's girl.
Yeah.
Or girl's boy, I guess.
Yeah. He's
a little too masculine to be a girl's girl.
Yeah. He is, I think Tarquin for me would be my go-to. I
totally forgot about all the other people of the high courts.
Do you want to readjust your Rune Dannon for you?
Although maybe, well, yes, it's Rune Dannon for me. But if I had to pick somebody from the ACOTAR series, what's Lucian's brother's name that had a really bad rap, but we're starting to think maybe he actually wasn't?
Oh, Eris.
Yes.
Eris is, like, honestly, if I was going to choose the problematic route, that'd be mine, too.
Yeah. Because I feel like he's not as problematic as people think he is.
Yeah, but he's got that baggage, though.
He does, yes. He's got that daddy issues.
Which, speaking of
only
daddy
one of us
issues,
can have those.
You know? You're like, I'm the only one that have daddy issues in this relationship. Which actually, speaking of Eris and the Autumn Court, let's talk about that Cece connection.
There's your segue.
Hey.
And not the scooters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the first things I noticed is in Crescent City, and I might have, I actually do wish I had a physical book with me. Because
the red one, the blue one, or the black one?
Well, it'd be the red one, but you don't know Throne of Glass like I know Throne of Glass to be able to make the Throne of Glass connections.
Okay.
Because there's some
You've talked about something about it, though.
Yes. So, let's start with the ACOTAR connection because we both fully read both of those.
Yes.
So, Autumn King is the Autumn Court. Let's be real.
Yes.
That is the Autumn Court. The Fae, here's what I think. Here's my fun theory. And spoilers for all the series at this point.
Yeah. All the way through to the ends.
Yes. So, here's my thought. The Midgard, so the realm of Crescent City, is a meeting point of both whatever existed in Midgard prior and the peoples, the creatures' peoples of both ACOTAR and Throne of Glass. It is a culmination, it is the meeting point of those two universes, making a third.
And I can verify that is canonical.
Okay, cool. Then I'm like, I got this shit. Because I can actually
not necessarily Throne of Glass, but definitely ACOTAR.
But it is also Throne of Glass because of what I'm about to mention. It's the reason, most likely, as to why Bryce was able to go to the ACOTAR universe in the first place. And it's also how Aelin actually low-key met Rhys in the first place.
Oh.
Which you can't find out about until, I believe, the final book of Throne of Glass.
Okay.
So, there is this thing, and they talk about it in the first couple books of
they do.
Throne of Glass. But there's these things called word gates. And that is essentially, like, I'm so 100% confident in this that I'm going to say it is, that those are the gates that exist in Crescent City.
The rifts?
Yeah, the rifts. Those are weird gates. Those are word gates. Which basically, those gates allow you to transport yourself to other realms and to other dimensions and other realms and stuff like that. Like, if you fuck with them, you can end up in other places.
Okay.
So that's probably my guess as to how Bryce ends up in the Crescent City or Akatar world.
It's something having to do with the horn, because the horn opens a gate.
Yeah, it opens a weird gate, most likely.
So is there something in the Throne of Glass realm that would be equivalent to the horn?
Well, in Throne of Glass, there's these things called, like, weird word keys. Like, they're keys, and there's, like, physical, like, little... They're basically runes. Like, it's... So this is where the connection to Midgard also comes in, where you can make a connection thematically, because Midgard is the Norse word for earth in Norse mythology. That's what they call Earth, Midgard.
Yes.
And weird keys are also Norse. They take on that Norse mythology. And from the description of them, they are essentially Nordic runes.
Okay.
So most likely the horn has Nordic runes on them of some kind, or word keys, word runes, or whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah.
On the horn that then activates and it opens the fucking portal.
Okay. Whatever the language is that they're speaking, the ancient language that only a few know.
Yes.
Are there Fae in Throne of Glass?
Yes.
So could there have been Fae that traveled from that realm to Prythian?
Yes. Because there's this other really big thing in Throne of Glass where, so the big, like, this is the other connection with Throne of Glass in, Crescent City?
Yes.
Because the monsters they say this in Crescent City. This is why I was like, holy shit, I was right. The monster that, like, murdered her future boyfriend and best friend.
Yes.
Is called a Volg. A Volg.
Yeah.
That is first brought up in Throne of Glass. If you remember the monster, that thing that possessed that guy in the first book. That. Okay. And they also bring up the Volg princes in book 1.
Yes.
And the Volg princes are the major antagonists of the Throne of Glass series.
So Hell, what they refer to as Hell, might be the Throne of Glass world.
Not quite, because the Volg princes come from another world.
Okay, so there's your connection there.
There's the connection. And this is the other interesting part. One of the major, like, not really antagonists, but driving forces behind what happens in Throne of Glass are the Volg, right? So there's Volg queens as well. Okay. There's Volg princes, and there's Volg, like, kind of kings, essentially. And those are the major antagonists of Throne of Glass. But in one of the other big points are the gods in Throne of Glass, which essentially the gods still exist in Throne of Glass. Like, they are, like, back.
Yeah.
But they're still driving forces. And I'm trying not to be too spoilery because it is a really fun thing, but I do really want to talk about it. Because it's a connection to Crescent City. So in Crescent City, the gods are more like people, like high-powered people. Because in Throne of Glass, one of the big things, and the reason why Aelin lived, actually, why she didn't die when her kingdom was taken over, is because the gods stepped in to save her. So that she could be sacrificed to send them home. Because the gods are beings from another dimension, from, like, one of the other worlds. My best guess is that they are actually from the Crescent City universe.
So describe to me about the gods, because the main baddies, and this is a huge spoiler for book 3
I don't care.
in Crescent
Let's go.
City. Yeah, but the main baddies that have been throughout the Crescent City, but we get more details in book 3 about them, are the Asteri. And the Asteri are these like super powerful people, but they find out that they're actually intergalactic parasites, and they have been going to different worlds and taking them over and basically eating them until there's no energy left.
I don't know if that's what they do, because it's more like the gods went on a trip and got stuck in the Throne of Glass world.
Okay.
Because they weren't negatively impacting the world of Throne of Glass.
Okay.
They just were trapped. So I don't think they're Asteri.
Okay.
From my recollection of Throne of Glass. Because, like, Mala, the Firebringer, is one of the gods. Stop it. Come here, show.
Yeah.
Stop it. You're okay. But she, like, Mala and, like, all these other people, they basically were just like, you have to die to send us back.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of. That's
because
the
she's power?
Not really. There's a prophecy sort of situation.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So kinda like who she is, and like there's actually two situations. There's the King of Ardalan and Aelin, who, because I don't know if it's brought up, but it says like nameless is my price is a big phrase in Throne of Glass. And there's two people that fit that, because you have to, in order to keep the Volg out of Throne of Glass, that realm, out of Aelia, that's the name of the world, Aelia. Out of Aelia, you have to permanently close the gates, the weird gates, and to do that, you need to, like, the nameless is my price, like, nameless is the price to close the gates.
Okay.
And that ends up being, big spoiler, either that ends up being the King of Ardalan takes that on because he gave up his name. So he becomes nameless, and Aelin's also nameless because she was branded that at a young age.
Gotcha. So it could be either one.
Yeah, it could be either one. So he ends up stepping in because he wants his son to have a good life. And so the King of Ardalan... He fixed himself. He was like, I'm not gonna die today because my son needs to live. Essentially, he's like, you can't die because you're the only one that can deal with this other bullshit. So let me take that on and just make sure my son lives.
So bad.
He has a low-key redemption arc.
That's good.
But my other connection thing I think is fun. That maybe the King of Hybern took on that same thing. I think the King of Hybern is also a Volg Prince host.
King of Hybern in Akatar.
Akatar.
Okay, why?
Because that's one of the major things in that kind of setup, that's set up in Throne of Glass, and that would be a really smart connection to have made. Because you set it up everywhere else, you might as well fucking set it up in Akatar. That you give up, like, there's this thing where, like, the King of Ardalan gave up his name, like, literally got it permanently erased, I believe for power, like, as a sacrifice and stuff like that. So the fact that the King of Hybern is just King of Hybern and doesn't actually have a name is very reflective of the King of Ardalan doing the same thing. The fact that he never got a name.
Yeah.
So I think, and I believe the King of Ardalan was a Volg Prince host, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Can these Volg Princes exist without taking over another body?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think they have to, like, inhabit somebody.
Because the Princes of Hell actually appear somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if they are, unless the fact that they're not in the Aelia world means that they have different abilities to exist.
Yeah, my thought process of that actually was that, because this would be smart, like, character building so that they're not, like, all powerful, like, so that you don't overpower your antagonists,
Yes.
that that the princes of hell in, like, Crescent City can exist outside of a body in Crescent City because they're in their own world.
They're from a different world. Hell is a different, like, planet, I guess, or different thing.
But what I mean is, like, they're more likely connected more directly, because that's, if it follows, like, if it follows Norse mythology, like, in the loose way that it has been, is that like, Midgard and Hell would be in the same, like, realm.
Oh, okay.
They're in the same realm, maybe not the same plane, but they're in, like, the same realm. So you can travel between the two without worrying too much about, like, you yourself, right? But if we're taking the 3 book series as universes, separate universes, then it would be a smart decision to say, okay, if you're going up and down, like Midgard to Hell, you are fine to stay. So traveling vertically, you don't need a body. You don't need a tether, essentially. But if you're traveling horizontally to different planes, or to different, like, universes, you need a tether to stay in that universe.
Okay, that makes sense. Like a body that's from there.
Yes, that would be my thought process on that. As to why it works that way in Midgard, but not in Aelia.
Okay.
Because it did seem like for Aelin, when she ends up in, like, the space between universes, because she does end up there, and then she's flung across universes. Poor girl. Listen, that girl goes through a lot between the last 2 books. It took a lot to get there. That's what it seemed like. To go between universes takes a lot of power and a lot of energy. So, but it doesn't sound like it takes a whole lot to go from, like, Hell to Midgard. Like a little summon, but, like, not like, holy shit, you need to, like, burn your body. Yeah. So that's just my thought process on that. And I just thought that's really cool that they all are, like, kind of interconnected.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And is there, I feel like there is, but I don't remember off the top of my head, but is there a character like Thea in Throne of Glass?
Please describe Thea.
Thea is a fae. And she is, like, the kind of like the founder story, where she's very powerful. What's the queen's name in? There is a so the fae queen that comes in.
Oh yeah, the queen Elena.
Okay. Yeah, there is a story for who Thea is. So, like, we know where she comes from. She comes from Prythian.
Okay.
She's awful.
She's awful.
She's awful.
Yeah, so we have Thea in Crescent City.
Yeah.
Elena is not quite like that. I think that's probably closer to, if we're talking, like, from another world queen.
Yeah.
Sort of situation, that's probably more like Mala the goddess. But because she's not really a goddess, she just is, like, an extra planar being that is very powerful.
Okay, so that would be similar then to, it's very complex. Like,
Like, there's no direct characters that are like, I'm from X universe, not here in Throne of Glass. But I think that's more of a byproduct of it being the first series.
Right. Rather than it being connected.
Yeah, because there is a theory that Fenris, who you haven't met yet, is from Prythian. Because he can winnow. He winnows.
Oh.
He winnows.
Yes.
Like, we literally, like, everyone's like, that's winnowing. We're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's winnowing.
Teleporting.
Yeah, he teleports the same way that they do in ACOTAR.
Yes. And he's a Fae?
He's Fae, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Everyone you meet in Heir of Fire is Fae.
Okay. Interesting.
Aelin's Fae.
Because it's Crescent City is a bunch of different species, I guess. Yeah. Groups of people have been brought from different planets to Midgard. Mm-hmm. And are there. So they've been intentionally brought because of their magical powers to Midgard in order to feed the Asteri.
Yeah, makes sense. I wonder if... I think it'd be...
And they say that there are different types of Fae. So you have the Prythian Fae, but you also had other Fae from different places. So I don't know what the Fae are like on Throne of Glass world.
They are similar to the Prythian Fae, but instead of being based off of, like, lineage, what power you have, you can kind of have each person kind of gets their own, like, ability, they can just kind of do their own thing. So, like, Aelin has fire, but that's, like, she's a descendant of Mala. So she gets fire, like, from that. But she has water from her mom, so there is, like, some stuff there.
Okay. So it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of overlap between those two. It seems like mostly the overlap is going to be through ACOTAR to Throne of Glass.
Which is...
Not Throne of Glass.
Crescent City.
Crescent City.
Which is kind of sad because Aelia is really interesting because that's where the Vogue really, like, tried to get out and go into. And the Fae are still very interesting in Throne of Glass because they're the only ones that really, like, they have magic. Like, other people can have magic, but not quite the same. It's like you have to be a descendant of, like, one of the gods, it kind of seemed like.
Gotcha.
If you're human, you have to be a descendant of one of the gods to have, like, a power, is how it seemed. And then Fae have powers of some kind.
Just naturally.
Yeah. Like, they can do that. Like, Rowan has ice and wind.
Yeah.
But, like...
I wonder if she's going to develop more about this, because this almost feels like it's out of nowhere. This crossover between Crescent City and ACOTAR, so...
Yeah, because, like, there's already a crossover between Throne of Glass and ACOTAR.
With Rhysand.
Yeah, with that happening. But it was really quick. It was like a page.
Yeah.
Like, it was offhanded sort of thing. And that is dumb. Because if
we could develop it more.
If we're arguing who's, like, the most powerful female of the three female characters, I'm gonna argue that it's Aelin.
Oh, yeah.
Because she knows how to use her powers. She has power.
Yeah. Innately.
To
herself.
Yeah. Like, she has powers, she knows how to use them, and she doesn't need her powers to kill you.
Yes. That's helpful. And it's like, Bryce has powers, but she can't actually use them for anything except, like, blinding you and then killing you.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah.
Because she can do that.
Yeah.
And then Feyre doesn't have powers at all. She just kind of gets gifted them by droplets.
And she doesn't know how to use them.
Yes.
Or at least, correction, Sarah J. Maas took away her ability to use them, it felt like.
Yes. I feel like she could have learned how to.
She got nerfed.
Yeah, she did. Poor Feyre. She really got shafted there.
Oh, yeah.
Literally and metaphorically.
Oh, I hate you.
I had to do it to him.
I know. But also, it looks like Sho is getting straight dog food tonight. He doesn't need wet food. He'll be okay.
No, he doesn't. He'll figure it out.
Yeah. He'll be fine. Plus, it's probably not good for him just to have kibble every now and then.
Clean his teefies.
Yeah, clean the teeties.
So I think there is definitely room for more overlap between her three worlds. I have not got all the way through the last Crescent City book yet, but I feel like there is definitely more room there. And it's also very obvious how awful the ACOTAR characters are when you put them up next to the Crescent City characters.
Yeah, that's what I was reading from, like, the reviews and stuff. And that's the thing that's so sad, too. And, like, why the I'm, like... And, like, as a reader, reading what the author has put out, like, it's like, how can you treat your characters that way? Like, you build up these characters, not necessarily to be good people. Like, no one ever said Rhys was good, right?
They don't have to be.
No, they don't have to be. But you should at least respect your characters and the things you have put out in the world. And be consistent.
Follow those characters.
Yes.
Developmental plans.
Yes. Like, if you're gonna say that Rhys is an asshole to most people, but has shown that he, for the most part, respects Feyre's autonomy, keep it that way.
Yeah. Consistency, or give us a reason why he would have this moral change.
Suddenly,
like, to rewrite his moral code.
Yeah, like the reason I like, and we'll go ahead and bring up the reason why I haven't read Silver Flames, other than, like, Nesta, because I just don't care about her enough to want to read a book about her. I just don't.
Which, fair. The training montage is really what I view that book as.
But the other reason is that it just, like, everything I've heard about the characters going from the main trilogy to Silver Flames makes no sense.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Like, you could say it's a POV change, but even then it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because, like, if you're going to say... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I'd rather you go. Get heated.
I was just going to say... because you could have the argument that you have this unreliable narrator of Feyre.
Yes.
And that she has her biases and that they're going to color everything that she says. However, we also had a Rhysand perspective book. And nobody really seemed to say that the Rhysand perspective book really varied that much in his character from the Feyre perspective books.
We did?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
When?
There was, like, a little novella. Was there?
Frost and Starlight?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did get a little bit of Rhys's perspective.
Yeah. And nobody was like, oh my god, who is this character?
Like, it
I
feels...
didn't read it.
I did.
Okay.
Hold on. I have to cough this up. Ugh. But it did feel like it came, like, Rhys's suddenly being like, I'm not going to tell my wife that this kid could kill her. I'm going to completely, like, it sounds like, from what I understand, you can correct me because you read the book, that Rhys is kind of a major bitch to Nesta.
Yes.
And then that continues, I've heard, into Crescent City 3. And then Rhys proceeds to be an asshole to Bryce.
Yes.
Which makes sense to me, though. I would probably be an asshole to Bryce, too, if you showed up out of nowhere.
Right. The suspicion is understandable.
Yeah. But, like, some of the stuff, like, he wasn't ever necessarily kind to Nesta. Like, in the main trilogy. Like, I would argue that he was very... Like, he just didn't care. Like, he was like...
Yeah.
You're my wife's problem, and, like, I'll support her. But, like... Not my monkey, not my circus.
Yeah.
Like, he was very, like, indifferent. I think, for the most part. He's like, she's useful. Like, there is, like, the manipulation. I see her as a useful thing. But that's the political intrigue of it all.
Yeah, and that's very king.
Yeah, that's, like... he's a fucking ruler who's trying to prevent a war on his territory. Like, he's gonna do what he has to do. Like, I'm not gonna blame him for that shit. Like, is it good? No. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody ever claimed he was a morally good character.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense that he goes from, like, suddenly not really giving a fuck about her to being a straight antagonistic towards her. Like, that shift doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And almost a parental consequence to a child is kind of how it flips.
Yeah. And that doesn't make any sense to me.
Not as far as the character backgrounds go, no.
Yeah. And then the willingness to just, like, be like, oh, now this person's all powerful because I said so, is annoying.
In which way?
Like, Aelin's stuff makes sense. We can see where her stuff comes from. You already explained Bryce's stuff to me, where it sounds like there is, like, a limit on her. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
she has, it's weird. I don't really know how it works. Like, she ranks higher, or as one of the most powerful beings on their little magical digital ranking system, but she doesn't actually have any usable powers. She has this starlight, which is an actual star, and that gives her the power to world jump. But she doesn't have, like, I can wield my starlight like a sword, or I can manipulate this.
Okay.
She's more of a conduit, I guess.
Okay. But, like, that's, okay, that still makes sense. Like, there's a thing that she can do that has a limit to the thing that she can do. Like, if my understanding is Aelin loses her powers by the end of the series. So she just goes back to, like a little bit of fire, but, like, not as powerful as she was before, but she could still,
mostly just mercenary.
Yeah, she's mostly just mercenary and fast. Like, she has that Fey grace and, like, the, like, natural agility and natural strength that comes from, like, just species stuff. So, like, she has a limit. Feyre feels like she got nerfed. So that's annoying.
Yeah.
And, like, again, like, how she got her powers makes sense to me. And there was, like, a small bit of a training montage there for her. Not a big one, but it exists.
I still hate the fact that the war was over in, like, one chapter.
Yeah, same. I agree with that. That's dumb. Because at least in Throne of Glass, I do feel like the last book is the war.
Yeah.
So that was fine. And then, what is it? What was I going to say? So Feyre, though, like, it feels like, oh, she has this thing, and then there's this other book in which we can now see maybe her work on her stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Come here, show. He's, like, whining at me, and I'm like, dude, are you hungry?
Aww.
Are you hungry?
Probably.
You had lunch. It's okay, we'll feed you in just a minute. We'll wrap this up. But, like, it just, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense that, like, Feyre got nerfed. So, like, she had power that made sense and then suddenly gone. Okay. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then, like, Nesta's powers make no sense to me.
No. She got, like, the power of the world.
That's,
almost.
So I was right in this. Now you're powerful for no fucking reason.
Yeah. She stole the cauldron's power. And the cauldron is, like, the thing, to my understanding, the thing that gives the world power, that creates, basically.
Okay. But
so
even
she can recognize quote unquote made items, so things that came from the cauldron.
Okay. So she just recognizes stuff? Because it sounds like she got super powerful.
She did get super powerful.
For no reason.
I don't really remember much of it, but the way she got her power was by stealing it from the cauldron.
Okay, so I remember that bit.
Yeah. So, like, whatever the cauldron could do, she now can do.
Okay. So that makes, like, basically the ACOTAR stuff after the trilogy makes no sense.
It's not logical.
At all.
And we still don't know anything about Aelin.
We know nothing about Aelin. And now you're throwing Crescent City into it, which had some logic to it from what it sounds like.
Yeah, it did.
And now...
But now we have this world overlap.
Now we have this overlap that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
Well, and it doesn't make sense because the things in Crescent City that don't make sense are the things that were brought from ACOTAR and plopped into Midgard. They took their little grubby, doesn't make sense paws and put them all over my nice, happy little Nordic-influenced Midgard.
I hate that.
Yes.
I hate that so much.
Me too. I think that's what a lot of the criticism comes from. Whew.
And I'm just like, my perspective, right, as a reader, that I'd love to be able to ask Sarah J. Maas is, why did you take characters that were one way and then completely shift them in a way that you can't even work away with an unreliable narrator excuse?
Right. Unless the only way that you could work it away is if Feyre is, and she's not physically abused, but like if Feyre had battered woman syndrome, except make it emotional, verbal, where she cannot see anything bad about her partner.
But even then, in most books that is the case. There are little indications that that's the case. And those don't exist.
Right.
Because, like, you could make the argument that maybe Rhys has been the bad guy the whole time, and he mind-washed Feyre this entire time. Brainwashed.
We're both running out of words.
It's fine. That he brainwashed, and that Feyre's been brainwashed from the beginning. Like, the moment that he showed up.
With his little mind speak powers.
Yeah, that she's been controlled the entire time. But that's a stretch.
It is.
That's a long con that you have to, like, be ready for the that there's gonna be backlash for the fallout. You have to be prepared for the fallout of that.
Okay.
And based on Crescent City, like the little I read, and from what you've just told me of it, and what I've read of Throne of Glass, that's not how she is as a writer.
Right, and it wouldn't make sense.
So I'm just so confused as to what happened.
Right. And if it is the fact that he has a child now, and that has completely 180'd his entire brain structure, we need to understand why that is. And what about the fact that he has a baby changed everything about his belief structure?
Like, how did his morals...
We don't get that.
Yeah.
Because people can change with parenthood, and that's true. But you would think there would be little inklings of it beforehand.
Yeah.
Because people don't... I don't feel like people fundamentally change that way unless they have had some kind of tragic loss of that child. Or some kind of tragic event surrounding a child.
Yeah. Because, like... For example, like, I would expect, like, for him to change, for my perspective of it would be that he would change after the kid is born.
Right.
Not prior. Like, maybe, like, be overprotective of Feyre, that makes sense. Especially because there is an establishment of, like, that Fae pregnancies are very, like, wishy-washy.
But he's also supposed to love his wife.
Yeah.
And the whole I'm not going to tell her that this baby could kill her feels a lot like valuing the fetus over the mother, which doesn't feel like that lines up with his character considering all that he has done to rescue Feyre.
Yes. And again, I go back to, like, he's always seemed to value, at least from my perspective, her autonomy in some way, shape, or form. Like, he's always been like, it is your choice. The things you do are your choice. I'm not going to take that away from you. And him being so scared of what could happen, like, you'd have to write that in a way that makes him seem like he's acting irrational. That he's acting irrational. But...
And having some other characters verify the fact that he is acting out of the norm.
Yes, but from what you've told me about that book, about Silver Flames, that doesn't happen.
No, they're all just like, oh yeah, that's totally normal.
Yeah, because like even
I think maybe the only one that criticizes him is either Morgan or, what's her name?
Amryn,
thank you.
Yeah, because like it doesn't make sense that, like, because we already were established in the trilogy that Castian's called Rhys out on his bullshit before. That Azriel's called him out on his bullshit before.
Yeah.
And now for them to suddenly not do that doesn't make any sense. So point is, ACOTAR doesn't exist after book 3. I'm sorry.
We get the end of it, and then the sudden surprise pregnancy is gone.
Because it's like I don't even mind the pregnancy thing. I don't mind the pregnancy trip. I don't give a shit. Like, you could be pregnant, go for it. It's called having sex with your partner at any stage of the relationship.
Yeah. Could
like,
be a possibility.
Yeah.
And
so,
also,
like,
she's what, 19?
Yeah, 1920.
I feel like the probability of getting pregnant at 19 is way higher than at, the reasonable age of 30.
Yes. Yeah. And so, like, for her, or even just for them, it even makes sense. Like, people are like, why would she get pregnant right after blah, blah, blah? I'm like, guys, did we all read the same book in which they both died now? They have both died in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Are we saying that, oh, wait a minute, I just thought of something. Anyway, I'll come back to that.
Okay.
I have a thought, but if this turns out to be right, I'm gonna be pissed. Anyway, like, it makes sense that Feyre and Rhys would want to have a kid because they've both died now at this point.
You're right.
They've both experienced actual death of themselves.
And Feyre has a mortal sensibility.
Yes, and a moral sensibility based off this feudal life that they all live in means that you have several babies before you're 25.
Yes. Because the rest of them will die.
Yeah. Yeah, babies so that you make sure none of them die.
Medieval.
And that they're supposed to work on the farm and everyone takes care of the family. You need kids to raise other kids and to live. Anyway, feudalism is weird.
Feudalism is weird.
But, so here is a thought.
Okay.
Before we go, because my dog is going to eat his own arm off. Come here, Cho. Come on. Come here. Come on. We're going to get up in a second.
Mine have been unsupervised for 2 hours, so.
Yeah, same. So, here's my final thought, and we'll end this with a theory.
Okay.
Let's end this with a theory.
A theory.
So, here's a thought, because we're talking about, like, why would Rhys have changed?
Hold on. A fairy. From the hair. Like theory and hair together. It's
I know.
A theory.
It's a theory. I hate you.
Continue.
Anyway. So, come here. So, here's my thought. As I love my dog because he just needs attention. What if the reason Rhys's... Because I love a good... absolute power corrupts absolutely theory. I love that trope. It's very fun and it's very realistic.
Yes.
Dude, I need my mic. Thank you, good sir. Hi. I'm back. So my theory on this is that what if, because you know when Feyre died and became Fae by getting the little droplets of each court.
So where she got all her power from?
Where she got all her power from. She was reborn with all of the power, right? Mm-hmm. But she had nothing. Like she was coming from having jack shit.
Right.
So she just comes from...
She was human.
Because she was human. So she is like, oh, cool, I got powers. Like a little more than other people, but I have a Fae body that can handle it, and there are really powerful Fae out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rhys is known to be the most powerful Fae and High Lord pretty much in existence.
Right.
Like, that was established. He has a lot of fucking power and a lot of, like, magic behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if, because when he died, he was reborn the same way Feyre was, that he took on so much power that it actually broke his mind and changed his moral compass, because he has essentially been corrupted.
Mm-hmm. Because but what power would have done that?
No,
and
all
why
of it.
didn't it happen to Feyre?
So this is what I mean by absolute power. Like, absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is why I mentioned Feyre had nothing when she was reborn.
Okay.
Like, when she had nothing. She was starting from... So let's think of it as, like, a pitcher.
Okay.
Okay? Take my imagery here. This will help.
The cup. The cup is empty in Feyre.
The cup is empty for Feyre, right? She dies, the cup gets filled.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't overflow, it's just filled, right? Because there's nothing in it, right?
Yes.
Rhys, when he died, like, his baseline is a filled cup.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? What happens when you pour more shit into a filled cup?
It overflows.
Yeah. So the amount of power his body couldn't contain. Mm-hmm.
But then what happened to the rest of the power?
No,
because usually when there's too much power, it explodes out in some way.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting is the explosion, is the change of his moral and character.
That's interesting.
That his body...
That would be at least a way that it makes sense.
Yeah, because the idea that basically his body had to figure out a way to process all the power, like his body and mind and spirit, whatever power structure exists in ACOTAR,
wherever the power lives.
Yeah, had to figure out a way. Yeah, had to figure out a way to handle it. And because his body is already used to a shit ton of power, he doesn't explode.
Okay.
Feyre doesn't explode. This is my theory, at least. Feyre doesn't explode because her body is literally remade into Fae that can handle it. So she doesn't explode because her body's remade. Cool.
Okay.
Rhys can't be remade because he's already the height of that world's, like, physical structure, right? Because he's already Fae.
Yeah.
His body can handle a shit ton of power because he's been handling it for, what, 500 years? 200, 300 years, something like that. Long ass time.
Yeah.
So his body is like, okay, we can... It's like almost like we have, like... my theory would be that the body would probably have, like, a battery sort of function to it almost. That there's a way to store extra power. But after that, like, it goes haywire.
Right.
Like, you have room for extra, but maybe not so much extra that he took on. And so his body's way of coping with it is his natural instinct to manipulate minds. And manipulates his own. In order to be able to handle the sheer amount of power.
Like the trauma brain that removes the trauma memory.
Almost, yeah.
It just removed the person.
Yeah. So basically, it's like the power had to be used in probably some way in order for it to kind of like be released, almost like you have to heat's the final form of energy, right?
Right.
In like physics. And his body, trying to figure out how to handle all of that power, decided to release it in some way, which for him is to use his power, and his baseline power, other than shadows, is mind manipulation.
That's true. And also, it brings up the question of, is their personality tied to the person's magic?
I think so.
Because then there could be the influence of the people's personality that he got the magic from that brought him back to life.
Yeah. Which
the other High Lords are not exactly the best people ever.
No, they're not. Especially people like Baron, who, guess who Rhys is starting to remind me a little bit of now that I think about it.
A little bit like the guy from Below.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we don't love.
No. But I think that's a pretty sound theory if you want to make it work.
Yeah, I think there's options there for it, for sure. Give us some kind of explanation, please.
Yeah, but that's the only triggering event that I can think of that would be so insane to actually alter brain chemistry.
Right.
Because,
or was there something that he discovered that completely changed him?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
That would be about the only other thing, but that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
No, like it sounds like it has to be magically influenced.
Yeah, which would make sense for what you said, because he's just getting overloaded, and we do love the evidentiary. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
And hey, there is some weird thing to like, why did Feyre wake up with these interesting new powers and abilities and a new body when Rhys died? Rhys didn't. That's weird. Yeah. Like there needs to be a change.
That is weird. Yes. Huh. She might be onto something, folks.
I'm onto something.
There is a lot of deductive reasoning in your brain for for synthesizing little tiny details.
Yeah. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at that
very
shit.
good at it. Yeah.
It's why I can call plot points from a mile away.
That's what's scaring me about it, is that it could very possibly be the theme of the next book.
Because I'm trying to think, like, what I've called a lot of major plot points before.
You have. Yeah, you already knew, just because you know basic Latin, in my brain in Crescent City was like, oh, wow, that's a crazy language. I can't believe she created it. And you're like, bitch, that's fucking Latin.
Yeah, I'm like, memento mori is just Latin for, like, something about death.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's Latin. Word keys. That's Nordic runes, y'all.
Yeah.
And Midgard's what we call Earth in Nordic mythology. Therefore, hey guys, guess where Nordic runes come from? Hey. Oh, the Volga are there too? Oh shit, I call that now.
Yep. Also Hell.
Hell.
The Princes of Hell.
Yeah, H-E-L.
The 7 Princes of Hell.
Yeah, if it's H-E-L.
H-E-L.
Yep, that's
it's
Helheim.
Singular L.
Helheim.
Yeah.
That's Helheim.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And the 7 circles of hell, 7 princes of hell.
Yeah.
Prince of the Deep.
That's just fucking Helheim. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. Asteri is Greek for star.
Yeah.
That comes from the Greek for star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the shit, like, if you just are a geek like me, you figure stuff out.
Hey, the more knowledge you have, the more things that you can put together.
Yeah, it's more fun. Now you've now put me onto fear of the next book that I've called something. I hate that.
Well, we still have a while to wait, I believe, until that comes out. So
who knows?
Who knows what they could do?
Yeah. Well,
with that,
yeah. Let's say any final thoughts.
I do not have any final thoughts. My brain is a little rattled right now.
I've blown your mind.
It is blown. It is gone. The brains is mushed.
That's
so thank
fair.
you for that.
You're welcome.
But until next time.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull up your little thing, because we'll sign off and end at the same time.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we were recording on different channels. Okay. Yes. I'm ready.
Okay, first let's do our little... how do we outro again? What words do we say?
Until next time. And then you go, bye.
Oh, that's right. Okay, restart. And action.
Until next time.
Bye. And end.